I'm Shannon.
And I'm Lisa.
And KK's here too. And you're listening to Blacktivities,
a celebration of all things Black.
Black culture, Black history,
Black perspectives, and Black panache.
Celebrating our Blackness doesn't mean exclusion.
Everybody's invited, but you gotta come in and have a seat.
So let the Blacktivities begin. What's good, y'all? I'm Shannon. She's Mona Lisa, and she's Karen, but you can call her KK. We're the host, your host of Blacktivities. This is like our third or fourth time talking about Black love because we do a love episode every February, but we always try and approach it in a different way. So one day I was listening to some old songs because I have a really old soul. And I was like, dang, I never really understood these old songs when I was singing them before. And I was just crooning them before. But it's like now, after I've been through some things and, you know, had real relationships, like I really feel what they're saying in the songs. So we're going to be just dissecting some of these old songs and talking about how we can promote Black love. This episode is called Let's Stay Together. We have a special guest today, but before I introduce her and we get into the big facts, we have to talk about our sponsor, Hope Inc., which stands for Helping Other People Be Empowered. We talk about breaking generational curses all the time on this show, and Hope is helping single parents to do that. They provide single parents who are trying to get their degree with ongoing assistance for childcare, rent, budget coaching, life skill training, and even counseling services so that these single women and men can grow and thrive and better themselves for the next generation and generations to come. Hope's founder, Kenita Smith, was a single mother herself who found out the hard way when she was trying to get her degree and take care of her kids that there's not much out there to help a single parent on the come up. So she created Hope to help people like her who just want to elevate in life and need a little bit of help. For more information about how you can become a Hope participant or support these single mothers and fathers, visit their website, hopbe.org. And that link is also in the show notes. Okay, so let's get into the big facts. I'm going to keep it short today because I know our guest has some amazing insight and I want to leave room for that. So I got this from blackdemographics.com and their source is the 2023 U.S. Census American Community Survey. So that survey found that only 30% of Black Americans were married compared to 48% of all Americans. And this is from 2023. Half or 50% of African Americans have never been married compared to 34% of all Americans. And compared to the major racial ethnic groups in this country, which are white, Asian, and Hispanic, we, Black people, have the lowest rate of marriage, the highest rate of being separated or divorced. And I'm combining those two percentages because separated is equal to the Hispanic community, but divorced is higher. We have the highest percentage of never married people. And lastly, I want to point out that until 1970, Black women were more likely to be married than white women. But after 1970, that number of unmarried Black women just continues going up. So when you look at the chart, it looks like just like a mountain scaling going up. This is not a fact, but I speculate that is because of what started to happen to Black men. We talked about this in an episode last season where we talked about the crack epidemic. And if you look at the chart of unmarried Black women, the upward trend started in the 50s. But from decade to decade until the 70s, it wasn't really increasing that much. Even from the 70s to 80s, there was a bigger jump, but it wasn't that much higher. So where you see the biggest jumps from decade to decade was from the 80s on. And in that previous episode, we had talked about some of the causes and effects that led to the Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1986. So follow here. Reagan took office in 1981, and he instituted his Reaganomics, which led to more offshore hiring, which led to loss of jobs for a lot of black men, which led to an increase in like drug sales in the black community, which led to the crack epidemic, which led to the Anti-Drug Abuse Act, which led to mass incarceration, which I believe is one of the causes of why the numbers on this chart look the way they do. So that's all I have for big facts.
I have something to say about that. I think it's part of, and I'm sure I've said this before on here. I think it's part of our history in this country as from colonization. I think that's part of the issue. And frankly, when we came over here, and our men were separated from us and we had to run households alone, that has become part of the pathology. So this is not something that was intentional for us as a community. This is something that was put upon us because, of course, our men were studied out like horses, and some were even made to breed within their own families. So this is a pathological issue. This is a historical issue. This is something that has impacted us from generation to generation. And I believe that impacts whether or not and how we marry and things of that nature. I think had we been able to stay together, our numbers would be much, much higher if the trauma and toxicity of being here on this land had not impacted us the way that it did or manifested the way it did. Those numbers would be much different.
Thanks, KK. Let's go ahead and introduce our guest. Mattie Finn is a licensed professional counselor and entrepreneur with over 15 years experience working with the at-risk population and a passion for helping others achieve wholeness and purpose in their lives. She operates on a Christian foundation and principles, was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, and is a wife and mother of 3. She works with women, men, and children, offering therapeutic services through her business, Purpose and Living Psychotherapy Services. Welcome, Mattie.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Glad to be here.
I made a list of songs, and we were looking at the lyrics of some of these old soul songs. And Mattie is going to help us decipher like some of the good and bad in these old songs. And we're all for Black love. So we're promoting people staying together. So speaking of staying together, let's start with Al Green, Let's Stay Together. So if you look at the lyrics of this song, some of the things that I notice, I'm so in love with you. Whatever you want to do is all right with me, because you make me feel so brand new and I want to spend my life with you.
You're supposed to sing it.
I know, you're supposed to sing that, girl.
That's something among the African American community. We accept any voice and tone.
Yes. I just don't want to get in trouble for a copyright.
Girl, bye. No grace.
Let's see. Let me be the one you come running to. I'll never be untrue. Loving you, whether good times or bad, happy or sad.
Happy or sad. Come on now.
Why people break up and turn around and make up. See.
Yeah.
So, Mattie, what is your take on the lyrics of this song? What can we glean from this and learn about healthy relationships and how to stay together?
Okay, so I can truly say Al Green is one of my favorites. I grew up in that era listening to Al Green in the next room while my mother and dad was dancing, and I had to be shut off into another room. But I heard the song. And so what stands out the most with that song is the intro. I'm so in love with you. He comes right out the gate expressing himself, making a firm declaration that I'm in love with you. And then he goes on to say, whatever you want to do, and throughout the lyrics, he basically serenaded. He serenaded and he positioned himself to really touch the heart of that individual who he was talking to, or who he wanted to express his true feelings. So with that particular song, that's a win-win for that one right there. Not only because of Al Green, he's a pastor today, you know what I mean? So he kind of learned some stuff, but that song in itself, it represents the true essence of me loving you. What does it look like? And as it looks this way, as I'm describing, it's going to make you feel a certain way, and not only the music, the monologue, the music in itself, the tune, the melodious sound that comes across, it makes you lean in and say that again, baby, say that again.
Right.
So I think that's a win-win. I think that definitely need to be first on the charts for Valentine's Day for individuals to rekindle, reconnect the essence of love via Al Green.
They definitely don't make love songs the way they used to.
Yes, absolutely.
Another Al Green song, Love and Happiness. Right? I like how it starts out, love and happiness, something that can make you do wrong, make you do right. Then talking about...
Then you get that guitar break. You know that break.
Yeah.
Make you bite your bottom lip.
So, with that particular song, when you say love and happiness, he also describes how love can also make you happy, but it can also promote some actions that will be unfavorable. Those actions that will make you do wrong. And as my mother said, when you want to do right, So I believe Al Green in his era, he promoted the true meaning of love, and he took it from different approaches to be able to reach the audience and exactly what they were going through during that time. And as we can apply it now, love and happiness. How can you separate love from happiness? Love is happiness. Although it may have some unhappy moments edged in, but it still will run back to happiness. That's its origin. That's its placeholder, is happiness.
Yes. Just looking at the lyrics, like, you be good to me and I'll be good to you. We'll be together. We'll see each other walk away with victory.
Oh, that you make me come home early. Oh, Lord, yes.
Or stay out all night long.
Yeah.
What do you say? Love is walking together, talking together, singing together, praying together.
And so once again, you have love that connects to so many different meaningful actions or interactions with other individuals, with your individual, with your person. And so when we think about love is like it's the catapult. It branches, it reaches, it stretches, even, like I said, in the most unfavorable times and moments, a season of a person's life or their relationship. And so I believe Al Green really, really honed in on what did that look like for him. And he wanted to describe how you can actually act it out as you're going through it in his era. Mm-hmm. Them young folk, I'm sorry, y'all may not know a little bit about that, but a little age give you some.
I was waiting for y'all to do it first because I've been over here thinking that like they don't like there's music today that doesn't reflect that same tone.
It doesn't.
And like we've hit on this before. They can come out with like a love song. He like, I just want you to have my baby. And the girls are like, oh yes. And I'm like, baby, that's not it. That's not love.
That ain't
like,
it. No.
Yeah. So I agree on that part though. Some of the music back then, it's just like it really, really touched on actual love. And it gave that glimpse of what it's really about.
Yes. And it hit the soul. It hit the soulish realm. You know, that's really you thought about it, your emotions lined up, and then you made some decisions based upon even a song, you know?
Right. In fact, it's interesting because I think our culture nowadays does not lend itself to transparency. And so what we see is people who don't have the desire or ability to be transparent in that way. It's like a lot of fear-based thinking about opening up and being transparent. You know, and we see it all over, whether it's, I didn't know whether to call back. And, you know, I don't need nobody. I just need me and and I'm good single. And I mean, all of that can be true because two things can be true at once, but you can also care about somebody and let them know, when the time is right. I'm not saying do that for everybody. Don't get me wrong. Everybody's not the right candidate. It has to be the right person. But when it is, and you just got to know. And I think that's what we're missing now. If you think about even in our culture, we are some of the most accepting and loving and open people. We love on everybody. And so for us to be in a situation where we're in a culture right now overall that is not loving, is not empathetic, doesn't have any of those characteristics. I mean, if you look at the things, just what's happening politically, there's no care. There's no checking in on your people. There's no comfort for those who suffer tragedy. And so we have that overall at the top. And then, microcosms of that within cultures. And for us, Black people, the warmest, most loving people and nurturing people, that's what draws people to us. And so if we're not doing that towards each other, and then we have this fear-based thinking of, everybody's afraid to get their heart broken, but this fear-based thinking of being transparent and being able to say those things. I'm like you, Mattie. I remember my parents, that was their song, Al Green, and they had a few others. Yeah, that's what they listened to. But it allowed for them to be transparent and open, and it allowed for us as a people to say words that had that love and comfort, and what we evoke as a people is something that showed up in the music that we don't see now.
I agree.
Even now, just with the old school love, as I want to say, is also to, yes, you want to support each other, but also hold each other accountable. And like you said, the transparency and the whole clarity that comes with it, I agree with you. It's not there. It's not there. And when you said that, the one thing that I thought about was the song in my household, especially on Saturdays when it was time to clean up. When my mama put on Barry White, practice what you preach, baby. It's time to get the cleaning. And I remember being little in there cleaning my room or cleaning the bathroom. I was like, you just keep that frustration. You better get it. Like, this is the love part. So just holding each other accountable. And it's like, I can't think of any music that talks to your soul like that nowadays.
Well, it's supposed to be R&B, rhythm and blues, but sometimes they miss the mark. And You ladies were referencing transparency. Honesty and transparency go hand in hand. And when you think of honesty and transparency, both parties or all individuals involved need to be open to truthful and authentic conversations to each other, and also establish that mutual respect so they will feel comfortable being able to express themselves in a way that makes them vulnerable. But like you said, KK, everybody ain't mature. You know what I mean? Everybody is not mature. So you got to really pick and choose, and also use humility to approach a situation when you know a person's not mature. It's not that they don't want to be mature. They may not have learned it, you know, like practice what you preach. I used to say, why we got to do it? And you ain't doing it. Practice what you preach. You see? Right. So yes, the music today is definitely different. I believe that they want to tap in a little bit. Some of the artists, why? Because they use the lyrics. They remix. They reuse the sound. So that tells me that they have been pondering and listening to something that's a niche for them that they can launch to make their own.
The next song, Break Up to Make Up by the Stylistics. The chorus of that song says, break up to make up, that's all we do. First you love me, then you hate me, that's a game for fools.
Now I'm going to say, if I could totally be transparent, that was a dysfunctional one for me. You know what I mean? Because what we doing here? We breaking up, we making up. What we doing? We arguing, we fussing, we fighting, we coming back together. But it was what happened in the lives of individuals. They were singing what they were going through. The song was birthed off of the experience. You see? So it brings value in a sense because it's still happening today. We're human beings. We're humans and we're being. You see? And so when you think of break up to make up, that's all we do. First you love me, then you hate me. That's a game for fools. They identified that this is a game. What we doing? We staying together or we parting? What's happening? Because I'm understanding right now that this is a game we playing. And we both are labeled as fools. So let's get it together and make this thing work.
Right. This song is really real. I never actually looked at the lyrics for real, but it's like I never seem to make you happy, though heaven knows I try. What does it take to please you? Tell me just how I can satisfy you, woman. You're driving me wild. When I come home from working, you're on the phone talking about how bad I treat you. Now tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah,
You
tell me I'm wrong.
Argues. I'll say it's you. We got to get it together or baby, we're through.
Baby, we through. Yep. But that's when people actually wrote things that they were going through and what they experienced. And I think, what we have now is, like you said, they want to tap in. But if you're not writing about your experience, because come on, everybody could talk about, smoking weed and drinking and smashing and, like you said, Lisa, I want to have your baby. We can talk about that. That's easy. That's easy stuff. But when you talking about going through real situations and circumstances and relationships, come on. And then the other thing about it is that helps other people. So, and again, you don't thrive off of other people's suffering or pain, but just knowing that, oh my God, I'm not crazy. Somebody else is going through this too means everything. And that's what those songs did. It helped it because we could all relate, not even a love song. But when Will Smith made Summertime and it started out with that, you knew what was about to happen. You knew about the barbecue. You knew about going to get fresh because we could all relate. And it was like, you ready. You ready. You cut that on a warm day that's sunny. You ready to make it happen, right? Same thing with a song like that. You're ready to figure out how we can make this work. Whether it's let's stay together, that just reinforces maybe this was your date night. Maybe this was your weekend. Let's stay together. You reinforcing that, right? And so we have these opportunities to really, and I think artists now are not being encouraged to make that sort of music. Stephanie Mills has talked about it. Tank has talked about it. I'm sure I mentioned that a couple times, how he talked about Sam Smith making that song, and it's an R&B song. They just don't want to hear it from us. And that's what Stephanie Mills said. Y'all don't want to hear this from us. You want someone else to sing it. But this is how we emote. This is how we love on one another. So yeah, it's really about relatability, transparency, and the recognition of our humanity, I think, in all of this. And like you said, Mattie, we are humans who are being, and if we could get back to that, oh my goodness, I think it would help us a lot.
The next song is another one I never really looked at the lyrics for. Free by Denise Williams. The chorus is like, I want to be free, right? And I just got to be me. But if you look deeply at the lyrics and the verses, whispering in his ear, my magic potion for love, telling him I'm sincere and that there's nothing too good for us. And I just got to be me, free. So it's almost like a deception thing there. What's your take on that one, Mattie?
And also Denise Williams, she and I don't know in the in-depth research, but I know that she had some I think there was some domestic violence, if I'm not mistaken, operating in her life during that time. And I remember watching Denise Williams on Soul Train singing that very song, and her voice was so melodious, her voice was like a whisper, and she took a stance on, I need to be me. I want to be free, because we're talking about a song that was birthed during a time when we were going through a lot as a Black community, and being able to be free spirited with a gift of song, the gift of being able to sing what you want to sing, and allow the Caucasian community to really grab hold to, oh, these people are onto something. It sounds pretty good. Let me see if I can monopolize off of it, So that song represented so many entangulations, regarding being free. But when you think of the song in general, just being free, it denotes the ability to just be me, to be free of all the bondages of life, whether it's relationships, whether it's financial bondages, any type of bondages that one would be bound to, that would cause them to not operate out of purpose, you see. And so that song in itself, when you think about it, and the lyrics, you're able to refocus. Right? You can take the good and take the bad, right? And you pick out what stands most for you, and you begin to launch off of it. I use that word launch a lot because it helps you bounce off and go into a direction where freedom will take its perfect course in your life. Because when you think about being free, and I'm going to say this, guys, I'm a believer. I adopt a Christendom. Jesus was the ultimate sacrifice who allowed us to be free. So when you think about a song, anything that talks about freedom, you're free from the hurt, the pain, the anguish of situations that you face in life. So you can really take that song. It really can hit however you want it to hit, really, to be honest with you. But for the most part, her voice in itself, it drew you closer. It drew you close and said, okay, what is this freedom like that she's talking about? freedom in my relationship to be transparent, right? Freedom to be vulnerable and say, hey, listen, that jacket you got on is a little ugly. You might want to put the blue one on, okay? You see what I'm saying? Just to be free, to express yourself in a way where you're not being condemned after what you say based upon how you're feeling or how you're thinking in a moment. If that makes sense, guys.
Yes, I did not realize that about Denise Williams in this song. So I was just looking at the words because initially, like when I'm singing the song and not really paying attention to the words, I'm just thinking about, just wanting to be free from situations. But then when I started looking at the words, I was like, oh, it's like almost like you're in a relationship that you don't really want to be in. And, you're going through the motions, telling him this, telling him that, but then having this desire over here to want to be free. So that was interesting. Man, this conversation's getting good. You know what else is good? Hope Inc. is doing a lot of good. Are you a single parent in college in Metro Atlanta and you need help with rent and childcare? Hope Inc. wants to help. Visit hopbe.org to apply, and you could get up to $400 a month to help with rent and childcare so you can stay in school and get that degree. Again, that's hopbe.org. Apply today. All right, what about If You Don't Know Me By Now by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes?
Oh, yes, that's a familiar one, too. If you don't know me by now, you will never, ever, ever know me. Ooh. Yes.
I had to join in on that one. Yes. That was when I had to go to my granny house.
Hey, they closed the door on me and said, go in the next room.
Right. You had that moment you in there crying because you want to be in there with everybody else.
And too, that song too, it represented a lot of what people were going through that time, and the song, the lyrics speak for itself, just being to the point where if you don't know me by now, baby, come on now. Like you don't know me by now. If you don't, you will never know me because this is who I am. This is what I represent. And we can even bring that into 2025 with these, younger folk. Listen, this is who I am. I don't got to tell you who I am. I'm exercising it daily. You know what I mean?
I'm showing you
exactly through my actions and even some of my responses that you may not like. So, hey, listen, it's on you. It's on you because I'm letting you know. But that's a song also that is very transparent. If you read behind the lines and if you dig a little deeper, to be able to say, okay, so I don't think I truly, truly know you. Let's talk. Let's talk. Because what you're saying out of your mouth is different from what you're showing me. So let's have a conversation. Let's be transparent. I need you to be vulnerable right now so we can work this thing out, or, we can just love each other from the balcony.
Hey. Yes.
I love it. All right, let's transition and hear Lisa's piece.
All right. So here we go, guys. We know that there is a special day coming up. Red hearts and smiles and giggles, flowers and I love you. But I met a woman and she said, I'm tired. I am exhausted of existing, being nice and trying to please others, and a man who really doesn't understand what pleasing me is all about. She said, I miss being ice cold, which is weird within itself. Because here now, cuffing season is very trendy, and the girls choosing like the deacons who are peeping sister so-and-so in her fishnet hosiery. Yes, cold. And she said, I am good. Truth is, she just wants someone to pump her gas when it's 20 degrees outside, someone to hold her, someone to look at her children and say, I am here. There really isn't time to choose and chase, because with kids, who has time for that? So it's important that we have people out here that remain positive and tell this young lady to just focus. Just please chill out and focus. We peep you. And we see that you have really been out of character here, young lady. You have goals, honey. We understand you're tired. We understand you trying to be practical. But we understand you are you and you are human. You are working on what you have and you are so hard at being pleasurable, but don't get easily distracted. All that other stuff will come when it comes. So please, just talk about it with me, vent, and just rest, chick. You got work in the morning. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, ladies, it's time for the call. Mattie, at the end of our show, we always do a call to action for the culture. So if you want to chime in with yours, we'll let you go last so you can think about that, but no pressure. Okay. Ladies, what is your call to action for the culture?
So my call to action for the culture is us being a united front. We have somehow lost the cause of using our common sense and morals. And we should hold each other accountable, love each other, tell another person about themselves when it comes to love and being out here in the world, and just being respectable when it comes to choosing love.
I love that. My call to action is y'all just need to cut some music on in your house that means something.
Yes.
So your kids have to experience it, but you're responsible for it. So if your kids aren't listening to music that is valuable, that adds valuable, that value, that has meaning, that means something, and they're not getting into whatever genres of music are out there, then that's on you. So my call is clean that house with some music on. Get in that car, sing together with some good music, whether it's from the 90s, which is my favorite, 80s, 70s, whatever. Even the 2000s had some stuff. But whatever it is, expose your kids to it, because then they have something that they can tap into that feeds their soul. That's why they called it soul music. It was soul, it's rhythm and blues. It's all of that. That's us. Although we created every genre, those are the genres that we held near and dear. So feed their soul with something. Give them that cornbread music, that ham, hock, and greens music. Give it to them, because that's what keeps us strong, and that's what keeps us loving each other and tapped in.
If I could add on what she was saying, because I am a creative and music, it plays a major part in my life and as well as my children. Not only music, art, because I have to say I took my children to a couple of art museums, and I explained to them how artists paint pictures based on what's going on. And I was like, okay, I would say, look at this one. What do you think about this? And then you go look it up. And they be like, oh my God. Like, it opened their eyes to a whole new world, to where they go in and they are painting and drawing pictures. And I'm just sitting here like, oh Lord, baby, we need to talk about this. But just being a creative, not only music, art, just different avenues, even if it's crocheting, just talk about it. Present that space to where there is communication, and utilize Miss Mattie, because we do have African-American people out there that is there to support us for that healing.
Yes. I'm calling us, Black men and Black women, to value and respect one another. Enough of the N words ain't nothing and these B's ain't nothing. Like, we can be something together because we need each other and we need God to lead in those relationships. So, heal from the past, go see Mattie or another therapist and work it out, because everything has a cause and effect. Healed people showing up in healthy relationships creates healthy and whole children who grow up and continue healthy cycles. But because we haven't been doing that work, we have these cycles of trauma in our families, and they just continue from generation to generation. So that's what I'm calling the culture to do. Mattie, do you have a call?
Yes, and my call to the culture is to allow forgiveness to be rooted as a foundation for individuals who makes mistakes, because we know that mistakes are inevitable, but forgiveness and reconciliation keeps the bond strong.
Well, thank you all for listening. Thank you, Mattie, for joining us. We have enjoyed having you. If you guys enjoyed this episode, click that plus in Apple Podcast or that subscribe button in YouTube to make sure you keep getting these episodes. We also love to hear what you love about the show in the comments and your reviews. Thank you to our amazing sponsor, Hope Inc. This organization is amazing, and I personally give to them every month because I think it's a great cause. So if you can, help out those single parents. And if you're a single parent yourself, or you know someone who's a single parent and you just need a little bit of help, check out the application on their website, which is hopbe.org. Until we meet again.
Kings and queens keep doing big things. Let's go.
All right.
Bye-bye.